Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute and I don't even actually know how to start this video because there's a lot I want to share, and kind of based off the title you know what I'm going to be talking about, but if you know me personally, you know just kind of what me and Blake have been going through the past 4 weeks now. Yeah, it's almost 4 weeks exactly. I think today's the 16th, and everything kind of happened on the 17th of July. So, hi bud. Anyways, I'm just gonna share just start sharing what's been going on. So I guess just to like really preface everything, I 4 weeks ago, so about a month ago basically, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which is still a really weird sentence to say out loud. I don't think it'll ever feel natural to say that. But a few people have messaged me and just kind of wanted to know like how we even figured all this stuff out. And I think this is going to be, I mean, it already has been, but I just think this is going to be a really amazing testimony to like how good God is, and just to share like what He's already done, like has been doing. I mean, for years now, like as we've processed and talked about just everything, like it's so clear how God has set up everything so perfectly. And it might be weird for you to think or hear me say that God set up me being diagnosed with a brain tumor as like something perfect, but it really, like how everything has laid out, like it's just so clear how His hand has just been like guiding us this whole time. So anyways, I'm gonna just kind of start. Blake was going to do this video with me because this is like our thing. Yes, it's happening to my personal body, but we are one, and what he experienced through this diagnosis is just as crazy as what I experienced, but he was like, I'm just not a in front of the camera kind of person, so I wasn't gonna make him do anything. So anyways, he's like, I support you sharing it, but I just don't want to be on camera. So anyways, to go back in time, it was a Sunday night, and we were at home watching The Blind Side, and which is one of my favorite movies, actually. I really love that movie. And probably like maybe halfway through it, near the end, like I was like, gosh, like my eyes are being so weird. I can't really like see very clearly. And if you wear contacts, you know, like after a while of wearing them, like you're supposed to change them once a month, but I don't know anyone who actually follows that rule. I wear them until my eyes start being so irritated because they're so old and dry that you throw them away. So that is what I thought was happening. So I went and I took my contacts out and I had my glasses on, and I was still not seeing well, and I was like, this is super strange. And it's so hard because when you're pregnant, there's so many things changing in your body anyways, and vision is one of them. Like your eyesight can just become really bad. So it was kind of like I have noticed for like the past, well, at that time I noticed for like the past month, oh, excuse me, like my vision being worse, which is very common during pregnancy. So I just kind of thought it was just getting worse that night. And then I started feeling really dizzy, and we're just sitting on the sofa. So I was like, this is different. And it felt like literally like when you're a kid and you, for some reason it's fun as a kid, I don't really know why, you like spin in circles and then you just try to like hold your balance for a while and like just stand there and you're swaying and the whole room is spinning around you. That's how it felt. Like it was really intense dizziness. So I googled dizziness and pregnancy, and preeclampsia was the first thing that popped up. And so I was like, well, that's not good if that is what I am experiencing. And so at one point, I think it was after I googled that, Blake called his brother and asked if our sister-in-law had ever experienced any dizziness when she was pregnant. And I believe I texted my sister too, because her baby is 3 months old now. She was 2 months old at the time, so she had been more recently pregnant. And just trying to, when you're pregnant, everything's new, especially when you're first time pregnant. You don't really know what's normal or what's not normal. What's a healthy, like a vision changes, that's very common and not something to be concerned about. But dizziness is probably, I didn't know about that one. So both had said no, that they had never felt that. I can't remember if I texted my other sister-in-law or not. There's so much about that night that I don't remember at all. But and then I was sitting there, I was like, no, I feel like I'm about to throw up actually. So Blake helped me walk to the bathroom because I was so dizzy I could barely walk, and I literally fell to the floor in front of the toilet and I threw up. So after that, we got a bucket and we went to the emergency room. And the last thing I remember from Sunday night was when we were driving to the hospital and me telling Blake to slow down or drive better because his driving was making me more dizzy. That is the last thing I remember. So filling in the blanks, these are the things I've been told afterwards. We got to the emergency room, and I don't know exactly the time frame of these things, but at one point I guess I had told Blake like my left eye I really was having a hard time seeing out of, or something along those lines. Like my left eye was being really weird, and my left arm was either numb or being weird. It was something with my left side of my body though. And so we get to the emergency room. I don't know what Blake says to the ER front desk person or whatever, but they get me in and they're going to run some tests, probably just to see if it was preeclampsia related, since that's what we had first thought. And so I'm in a patient room and Blake's helping me get one of those robe things on, and he puts me onto the patient table chair thing. And I guess like the second he sets me down is when I had a seizure. So he calls in the nurses and they start trying to help me. I don't know what happens when when a person has a seizure, like what you do to help them, but they were doing what they had to do. They got me stabilized enough to run a CT scan, and the initial scan showed a mass on my brain. And then at some point after that scan, I had a second seizure. And so at that point, well, I guess I don't exactly know the time frame because I don't remember anything. And it's hard for Blake to remember because he's experiencing something very traumatic himself in watching this happen to me. But at some point I get like sedated, and there's tubes, like they put something down the tube down my throat, you know, IVs, stuff everywhere. At one point they were checking my heart rate and the baby's heart rate because I'm 24 weeks pregnant at the time. And they told Blake they can only hear one heartbeat, which is not something you want to hear. And then I believe pretty quickly they realized that my heart rate was really, really high and the baby's was really, really low, and they were the same exact heart rate. So I believe in like the 120 zone, something like that. So they were able to confirm that both of us were fine. They just had to get mine down and the baby's back up. And then at some point, you know, they called, the hospital we were at did not have a neurology team. So they called the Vanderbilt hospital to bring an ambulance to, or I guess, I'd assume the ambulance at the hospital we were at, I guess, took me to Vanderbilt is probably what happened. I can't imagine that the Vanderbilt, maybe though, I actually don't, I don't know. But either way, Vanderbilt was contacted and I was on my way to Vanderbilt so that they could help me out more. What was really great about being at our first hospital, because that was where I was getting all my, you know, like that was the hospital my OBGYN is at, and we were getting our care from. The on-call doctor that night was my OB, which was great because Blake already knew him. He knew us and was just kind of like a friendly face, someone that you already trusted to take care of you and your baby. So he was there, and all the nurses and the whole birth team, or the birth center team, was there. They gave me the, I don't know what the technical term is, the little lung steroid shot, in anticipation of having to deliver me early, not knowing what was going to happen, so that the baby's lungs would be fully developed if they did have to deliver early. Thank God that did not happen. But they were, you know, preparing for that, and they took really good care of me. Anyways, I get to Vanderbilt at some point the next morning, technically, so it's now the 18th, and they do an MRI on me without contrast. And I don't exactly know the difference between with or without contrast, as far as what you can see, like how it changes what they're able to see, but they do it without contrast, and they are able to, from that one, confirm that I have a brain tumor. So during all of this, at the same time, Blake's brother is calling my family, who are in Montana, and telling them what's going on, and they are booking flights and understandably freaking out, and getting the quickest flights out of Montana to get to Nashville. And then I guess at some point on Monday morning, I think it was probably around 8 or 9, they took the tube out and I guess got me off of whatever sedation that I was under. And I wake up in the ICU at Vanderbilt. And I remember waking up with Blake next to me. And I mean, him having to tell me what happened, because the last thing I had remembered was telling him to slow down because his driving was making me dizzy. So he had to tell me that. Told me everything that I just told you guys. And that I had a brain tumor. And that my whole family was already there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's probably, everyone was probably in the waiting room. You know, his family, my family. And just like now, I obviously was not okay. I don't really remember much of that day of Monday, being on, like, coming off of being sedated, or I mean, whatever I'm assuming it was like some sort of sedation. Plus they then had put me on a steroid and an anti-seizure medication, which I'm still kind of a little bit getting used to them. I'm at this point, I'm like 95% used to them. But at the time, it was all new. So the anti-seizure medication makes you very tired. So I'm a little bit used to it now. I still feel pretty tired this morning, actually, 4 weeks later. But so I was just feeling exhausted. I mean, naturally, my body had just gone through a lot. So Monday, I really don't remember a whole lot. Like, I briefly remember the people that came to visit immediately, and you know, everyone just coming in. The hospital regulations only let you have 2 people in the room at a time, so it was always Blake and one other person kind of coming in and out, so it's hard for me to remember who all was there. And I just slept a lot that day. At one point, though, my neurosurgeon came in, and the only reason I even remember, I guess I don't remember this, Blake recorded when she came in, and then we would play it again and again, because there's just no way. I mean, it's a lot of information to take in anyways. Like, Blake had no sleep. It's a lot to process, and then I have no idea of anything. So he had recorded it. But she had said that, I mean, she's a neurosurgeon. She sees this stuff all the time. But that just based off of the initial scan, gosh, I think it was this night. I can't remember. It could have been after. I apologize. It's so hard to remember, like, the timelines, because they did the first MRI without contrast, and then they did a second one on me, and I barely remember that. They did it in the middle of the night. So they wheeled me to the MRI room, and I kind of remember getting onto the little platform thing, and I kind of remember the loudness. I do remember the baby must not have liked the noise at all, because it was kicking around the whole time. So it was either after the first MRI or the second MRI that the neurosurgeon came in and told us that she believed it was a slow growing tumor, and that it was likely not aggressive tumor. But that the only way to know for sure would be to do a brain tumor biopsy. That must have been Monday night, actually, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, because Blake said that we moved Tuesday evening from the ICU into just like a normal hospital room. But I remember that we did the MRI from the ICU room, like that's where they picked me up from. So that must have been Monday night, in the middle of the night, you know, Monday, Tuesday, middle of the night at some point. And then Tuesday at some point during the day, my surgeon comes in and talks to me about what the game plan is, what they think is going on, and kind of potential birth plan things from there. So then Tuesday we moved to the normal, Tuesday evening, it was like at 7 p.m. or something like that, we moved to a normal hospital room. A lot of my family snuck into that room. It was like my sister, again, it's hard for me to remember. I know my sister and my niece were there. So my sister and her daughter. I think my brother was there. Blake was there, obviously. My sister-in-law and her daughter, she's like my other niece, and maybe Bailey, so Blake's brother. I don't think my parents were in there. I can't remember though. But we definitely broke the rules, and one of the nurses came in and very kindly said, guys, like there weren't even supposed to be kids under the age of 12 in the hospital at all, let alone in the hospital room, and then having more than 2 people in there. They were very kind though. They very politely just asked them to leave. You know, and my family was like, we just wanted to see where the new room was. Yeah, we'll get out of here. But of course they stayed for like just a few extra minutes. Just because I hadn't really seen, I saw everyone just pretty much individually. I didn't get to see everyone like all together. So like those few minutes they meant a lot actually. So yeah, so then Wednesday itself was pretty much just hang out in the hospital all day, kind of a day. Slept a lot, watched a lot of HGTV, some Disney stuff. You know, family and friends came to visit throughout the day and everything. But that was just more of a waiting day because they scheduled my biopsy for Thursday. So they were running tests on me all day, basically getting, my blood type, just getting all the things ready that I guess hospitals and stuff need when you're doing surgery. And then initially my surgery was planned for Thursday at like 7 p.m. And I'm so thankful. I mean, I hope whatever had to get changed was a good thing for the person that it got changed, but there was either a cancellation or something. So I was able to have my surgery be at 7 in the morning on Thursday, which was really great because as you can imagine, well, I had never had a surgery before ever, and so I didn't know what to expect in general. And then when your very first surgery is a brain tumor biopsy, I mean, this goes without saying, I had a lot of anxiety that night. So I was very happy that I knew I would, just go to sleep that night. They'd come in the morning to get me, and I'd have my surgery and it'd be just done that day, and I didn't have to wait all day and have more anxiety like coming over me. So that that was really great. Yeah, Wednesday night was probably besides the initial news and like the fear and everything that came over me Monday, Wednesday evening was probably the hardest. But we just worshipped. We had worship music playing all night. Talked to Blake's brother a lot that night and just kind of talked about the story in the book of Daniel with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And, when they literally went through fire and Jesus was with them the whole time. So we just kind of held on to that as we were walking through this fire. And then slept as much as I could, really. Sleeping in a hospital, it's like impossible. One, they were checking my vitals like every 2 or 3 hours. And then, look, the staff was so sweet and very kind. But they would always not close the curtain all the way, so like the light through the window would shine in from the hallway. So it's like not dark in there. So you're not really getting any sleep. But like 6 a.m. rolls around and they come and get me, and we go. Like even that, I barely remember. I think they had me change robes into like a more of like, I remember being purple. It was like more of a papery kind of a robe, not like the cloth one. Just to get ready for surgery. And then, yeah, I remember the staff, like all the surgeons and everyone that was in the room were so nice. One of them, they're, whether they do it just, just to make you feel more comfortable or they actually care, it's hard to know. But one of them asked where I lived, and I said, oh, just in Madison, because it's only 10 minutes. Like Nashville and Madison are basically the same thing. So we live really close, which is nice. We're like 20 minutes with traffic probably away from the hospital, but like 15 minutes at most. So I was like, yeah, we're just up in Madison. And one of the surgeons, oh, maybe it was him who asked me. He was like, oh, that's where I live. Have you been to like the Madtown Coffee? Like him and his wife love that place. And Blake and I have been there and stuff. So just chatting about that kind of thing. And they just made it so calming, which felt really nice. And then, one of the other ones put the gas mask on me, and just talking to me. And, saying just take deep breaths and everything. And you can slowly just feel yourself being knocked out, basically. But that's nice. It was nice. I remember I could see just how where I was angled, the clock was right in front of me. And I saw it was like 7 a.m. pretty much exactly when I was being put under. And then I woke up and, saw the clock again, and it said 1:15. And I remember a little bit getting scared on the inside, because they had said at one point that the surgery should only take like 3 hours or something like that. And maybe I am not remembering that right, which is very possible. But when I woke up, it said 1:15, and I just immediately thought something went wrong. Like I should have woken up like 11 o'clock at the latest, probably. And this could just be totally in my head, because everything went perfectly fine. They got like 9 samples of the tumor. I should have said this at the very beginning. The tumor is inoperable. it's like, it's not on the outside, it's like in there, so they can't take it out. So they had to do the biopsy to know what kind of tumor it is specifically, to know what potential treatment plans would be needed in the future. So anyways, they got like nine-ish samples. I could open my records and see how many, because they have them all listed, but anyways, they got a bunch of samples. Everything was fine. I remember immediately saying, my head hurts, and they were like, okay, is it your head or is it the incision? Those are two very different things to worry about. And I said, no, it's like, I pointed and it was right where my incision was. And they're like, that makes sense, we just stitched your head back together. Once we get you back to your room, we can get you some Tylenol. So they so that was, you know, comforting to know, like, yeah, it was just clearly where I had just had surgery done and stitched back together where my head hurt. I had KY jelly everywhere in my hair, which was so nasty. But my surgeon did a great job. I had a female surgeon, which helped a ton, because she said that male surgeons don't care like about hair, and she tries her very best to make sure that she cuts off as little as possible, you know, like the most she has to, so that when everything's healed, you don't have this giant patch on your head that says, I just had surgery on my head. So yeah, you can't even tell. I'm sure there will be a scar that might not fully grow hair exactly, but I can tell my hair is coming back already. I mean, it's been 4 weeks and it's like a quarter of an inch long. Anyways, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but yeah, so went back to my room, family came in. I remember looking at the photo of it and thinking, this thing looks nasty. Now that it's like not swollen and it's healed, it looks like just like a normal kind of scar. But at the time I was like, this is so gross. Yeah, so just rested for the rest of the day. Was very thankful that the surgery happened in the morning, because I did not like, knowing that they probably would have had a surgery at 7 in the morning and then another one at 7 p.m. Not that they don't do it all the time, but I was just happy I was the first one, and they were fresh and you know, had just rested all night, so they were ready. And then my doctor came in. Well, the whole team came in at one point. It's a teaching hospital, so not only did I feel like I was in my own episode of Grey's Anatomy, but it was very hard for me to remember who all my medical team was, because they're, you know, you have like your surgeon and then there's like 5 residents, and it's so hard to like keep track of everyone, especially when you're on medication and like still processing everything that's going on. But everyone is super, super nice, which I'm very thankful for. They made a hard situation so much easier. And then I was told by my surgeon, I believe it's a state law here in Tennessee, it's probably similar in other states, if you have a seizure, you can't drive for 6 months. So I can't drive right now, which really does not affect my life too much, because I work from home, and whenever we do drive, Blake drives us everywhere anyways. I had to adjust some of my work things, because there were days that I would run to the bank for work, but that was an easy switch for someone else at work to do that role instead. So and then she said to sleep elevated for, you know, while I was recovering, just basically always keep my head above my heart. If I drop something, to like squat and pick it up, but like don't bend over. I mean, really minor things in the grand scheme of things. yeah, and then we talked about birth plan things, which this video's, oh gosh, I have hiccups, is already kind of going to be long, so goodness, I'll probably do a different video on our birth plan going forward. But Friday morning, gosh, and sleeping, let me tell you, having to only sleep on your left side because my incision's over here, so to sleep like just on my left side has been kind of hard because I kind of toss and turn, and yeah, it's messed up my ribs. I need to go to the chiropractor. Oh, as the reason when Blake and I first got to the emergency room and he was saying that like I was saying stuff on my left side of the body was weird, it's because my tumor is primarily on the right side, and the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body, vice versa. So it was, as the seizure was like building to about to happen, it was affecting things on the left side of my body. So that's something else my surgeon was like, you know, my new medication should control this and it shouldn't happen. But that's like a symptom if I'm about to have another seizure, is just kind of always just be aware of the left side of my body. If something seems different, that's what's about to happen. And then, yeah, Friday we just kind of hung out. They started they came in the morning and they said you will be able to go home today. Oh, my surgeon came back in, I believe, that day, or whatever day it was. Yeah, it would have been Friday when she was telling me all this other stuff. I had to like keep my incision clean, let it heal, had to wash my hair every day with baby shampoo and not put any other products in it, which completely fried my hair out, which is a very minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but it was just another annoying aspect of everything that was going on. But yeah, was able to get discharged, got the medication I needed. Yeah, my dad and my sister's husband Leo came and they picked us up and we got to go home, which felt really good because I had told Blake this in the hospital. I said, like, I miss just like sleeping with you. Like, he slept on a cot next to me, but he was like basically like, it was way lower, so like we weren't able to like be next to each other, which is kind of a silly thing, but when you just want some normal, that was something I missed. So we went home, and we did, oh, so emotional. Saturday morning was the day all my family was leaving. So we did a family dinner with everyone, like all Blake's family and my family, over at his parents' house, which I was still like kind of in a daze, you know, still getting used to everything as far as like just medications. Like mentally I was okay. But that was a really nice night, just to be together after that whole week. And I mean, I really didn't get to see people. I saw everyone individually, but it felt good to just, oh gosh, I'm a mess. It felt good to just be all together in the same room and see my nieces and just, I mean, see my family, because I really hadn't gotten to see them that much. So yeah, that was a really good night. And then said goodbye to Darby and Leo and Aspen and my brother Orion that night because they were staying at a hotel near the airport because they had a rental car they had to return. So said goodbye to them, which sucked. Sorry, Blake texted me. And then the next morning, my parents stayed at Blake's parents' house. And we live right next to Blake's parents. So the next morning we took them to the airport. So that was another hard goodbye. This video is going to be so long. And I apologize for that now because I still have some other things to talk about. So it was my follow-up appointment. I guess not follow-up, but my appointment with my neurologist was scheduled for 2 weeks. Look at my calendar. Yeah, wow. Because my surgery was on the 21st. My follow-up appointment with my neurologist wasn't until the 10th. So yeah, like nearly 3 weeks while we waited for the biopsy results. Which, that's a long time, but it's so wild. Like, Blake and I had so much peace. Like, we just really felt that the whole time. I mean, we had moments in the hospital for sure, and I said a lot, like, anytime I woke up from a nap, that I felt like, okay, I'm just gonna wake up from a bad dream now, right? Like, this isn't real. But we did have a lot of peace about just, and it just, like, it really is, like, I can't think of the Bible verse right now, like a peace that surpasses all understanding. Like, we just felt so much peace about the results. We just knew, like, we just felt so strongly from God that everything really was going to be okay. So we didn't really have a ton of anxiety. We wanted the doctor confirmation of what we felt God had already told us. And that might not have been like the best mindset to have, but it was like, we believe what God's told us. So we're just waiting to, like, for the doctors to tell us that too. It's not like we needed human confirmation, but that's the only way I can really describe it, I guess. But we got the news that when we had my appointment, they were able to confirm that I have a low-grade benign tumor that doesn't need any treatments or radiation, and they will just monitor it for the foreseeable future. I'll do MRIs every 6 months for a little while they kind of can start a growth chart, I guess, and then I'll go once a year. We, like, just so strongly believe that the next time that I do an MRI, which will actually be in just a few weeks because they want me to do one before I have the baby again, just to, like, confirm the birth plan we roughly have planned for. But we just so strongly believe that it's either not going to be there or it's going to be significantly smaller, and they're not going to know what's going on, and we'll just be like, that's just God doing what he does best. I mean, I could really talk forever on all of this, so I'll probably do another video just to kind of share more. I won't talk about birth plan or anything else like that in this video. I just wanted to share kind of what that week was like and everything. And just kind of take a moment to thank everybody who has been praying for us and has helped us out, whether you just came and saw us at the hospital or just sent us encouraging messages or brought us food. We have not had to cook dinner in weeks. Like, ever since we got home from the hospital, we have not had to cook dinner, which is such a small thing, but we're so grateful for that. Just to like have one less thing to like think about has been such a blessing. And the people that have helped us in other ways, like, it's so there's just no words for it, really. But yeah, that is I wanted to make it short, but there's just no way to make this a short video. But that's been the past month, the past 4 weeks for us. And I'll share more in the future, like as far as we don't have a treatment plan from the doctor, but we have a plan for ourselves and what we're going to be doing, what we kind of already have started, as far as how we are treating this. Talk about birth plan in the future and all that stuff, but yeah, just kind of wanted to update you guys with as much detail as possible, but I didn't want to just make like a Facebook post. I wanted, or anything like that. I wanted to share like my actual feelings, and you clearly saw my feelings. It's so hard. I'm an emotional person normally, and I'm pregnant, and then this is going on. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't, yeah, just wanted to share, be as, you know, open as possible, because we really think that this is, I wanted to share this because like God is going to do something really incredible through this story. So I wanted to share it from the beginning, you know, while I'm here. I'm not going to put this like on the thumbnail. I won't do that. Oh, so many photos of my sweet little nieces in my phone. So this isn't like the best image of the MRI, but I'll show you the tumor. I mean, you can see it. It's that whole thing. It's, my neurologist said this is a really big tumor, and I'm not going to tell you the measurements of it, but it's significantly large. Maybe I'll share that in a different video, but just wanted to show it here just so you can see, and then the next MRI I do, I'll be able to do a little side-by-side comparison, and you're gonna see that it is smaller or it's gone. And I've stopped saying it now just because this is how I've been trying to describe everything, but I no longer am saying like I have a brain tumor. I'm saying I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, but I'm not going to I'm talking about it in past tense, like it's something I had, it's not something I have. Just fully believing that God has taken care of it. So anyways, if you heard that, that's lady snoring right next to me. Oh gosh. Anyways, yeah, if you made it through this whole video, thank you for watching. I'll be keeping you guys updated as things kind of as we move forward with everything. But thank you for watching. Seems silly to end this with a like and subscribe, so I'm not going to do that. Anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you.